You're listening to the 3 Pillars of Success, a podcast that inspires people of all walks of life to gain perspective on what it means to succeed. My name is Geraldine Convento, and I'm best known for entrepreneurship, my skills in web presence, and SEO. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the show. Hey y'all, how you doing? It's me, Geraldine, the Entrepreneur Guide, Web and SEO expert. You're listening to the 3 Pillars of Success podcast, and I'm super juiced to have my guest today, EvYan Whitney. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. We're going to get right into the questions because I know everyone listening today wants to know more about you. Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do for a living?
My name is EvYan Whitney. I am from Los Angeles, California, and I am a sexuality doula and a sex educator.
When you're not working, what do you do for fun?
I love eating pastries. What else do I love to do for fun? I'm a plant papa. I have a lot of plant babies in my house. So when I find the time, I'm usually taking care of my plant babies, replanting them, repotting them.
Very cool. So what does success mean to you?
What an excellent question. Success for me means contentment with what you have in whatever form that you have it. I, as a business owner, have been trying to find ways to see success in a sustainable way. I think that success sometimes can feel very forceful, like you have to be somewhere that you're not. And lately, I've been trying to be with the both and of things. Like, yes, I have these goals, and I'm also really grateful for everything that I have. And I can feel into the contentment and the success of what I have. And there's something about that gratitude that feels like very alignment with what success is for me.
Yeah, gratitude is definitely an important part of the journey. Whenever roadblocks or anything else that's unexpected comes up, it's very easy for us to fall in emotional states that aren't ideal or don't move us forward, which is okay. And gratitude is critical.
Yeah.
So what are your 3 pillars of success?
Oh, wow. Is this about like anything? Like success in terms of anything?
Yeah, anything you want. I'm sure everybody has a different answer, including you. So,
yeah. Okay. One of my pillars of success has to be sensuality. It has to be being in your body or being in my body. I feel like I would not be able to enjoy and savor the successes and the joys and the pleasures of my life if I wasn't connected to my body. So sensuality feels like a must-have, and in terms of a pillar of success. I would say that my second one has to do with and I don't even know if there's a word for this. Actually, there is. I would say self-realization would be another pillar of success for me. Who I am and who I want to become has so much to do with the things that I am learning about myself, the things that I am healing about myself and liberating within myself. And I can't imagine being successful, being content or satisfied with my life if I don't know who I am. So I feel like that self-actualization, that self-realization piece is so, so important. And then the last, this is kind of, maybe it's not superficial, but for me, it's not. It's pleasure, having a life that is filled with as much pleasure, as much joy, as much feeling good as possible, and making sure that every day is filled with even just a couple of tiny moments of feeling good in my own body or feeling good about what I'm doing or who I'm sharing my life or my time with. Pleasure for me, if I can access pleasure in a given day or a given moment, that feels like success for me.
Awesome. So we have sensuality, self-realization, and pleasure. These are definitely unique to the show so far. And I don't always ask follow-up questions, but I will, because your first is so unique. In terms of sensuality, it's not common for people. Well, a lot of people. And I'm just wondering, for anyone listening here that maybe hadn't heard that before or hadn't considered that for themselves, would you give any tips aside from, of course, following you on YouTube and your podcast and all that? They could do all that, but is there any quick tips that you can offer for even exploring that or thinking about that for themselves?
Yeah, I want to quickly define what sensuality is because I think people hear that word and they're not entirely sure what that means, or they have an idea and it might be not super accurate. I think in our culture, we see sensuality as being interchangeable with sex and sexuality. And we can absolutely have the best sex ever through sensuality, of course, but I see sensuality and sexuality as their own standing alone experiences. And for me, sensuality is being of the body, experiencing the pleasures and the sensations and the feelings of your body, and being able to find pleasure in them, being able to savor those experiences. And sometimes, that can look like many different things. That can look like eating something that feels really good to your soul, that feeds you and nourishes you. And while you're eating it, you allow yourself to really savor it and not just like gobble it down, but like, wow, this is what it feels like. And this is what it tastes like. And I can sense all of the different notes and I can smell these things and it's enhancing my experience of eating them. You can go for a walk. And while you're walking, you can just bring awareness to what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what you're smelling, what you're hearing. And then one of my other favorite practices to do is, and it's a little challenging to do because it requires us to slow down. I mean, that's what sensuality is. It requires us to really slow down and tune into ourselves. But this practice I love to do both as a way to invite sensuality into our lives, but also to ground into our bodies, which is take a moment to just like sit down and put away your devices, maybe put away a podcast, be in silence with yourself and just notice, what are you sensing? Sort of paying attention with your senses is one of the ways that I like to think about sensuality. And so when you're in this moment with 5 minutes or so, just notice, what am I seeing? And just like looking around the room, looking out the window, noticing the shapes, the colors, the textures, the shadows, the lights, and then moving on to feeling. What am I feeling on my skin? Can I feel the clothes caressing my shoulders? Can I feel the chair holding me up in this moment? And basically going through each sense in that way, just noticing, paying attention, being curious. And in that way, in that moment, you are being sensual because you are fully awakening to your senses.
Thank you for describing that. It's
Yeah.
very inspiring just to even hear you describe the whole process and what you can do that's so simple.
Yeah.
What is a roadblock that you had to overcome on your path to achieving success?
Well, when I think about, my pillars of success when it comes to sensuality, self-actualization, and pleasure, some of the roadblocks that I've had to overcome with that were just feeling like pleasure was superficial or frivolous, that my sensuality wasn't something that I needed to explore. It was just like, that's cool, but like there are other more important things to experience in your life. And then just feeling like I need to continue to move. I need to continue to go, like this fast-paced motion of going, 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 doing, doing, doing. There's something about sensuality and about even experiencing pleasure that requires us to slow down. I would even say that about self-actualization or self-realization, sitting down and asking ourselves really important questions and getting the lay of the land in terms of our dreams and our desires and what's working and what's not working. So I think like the fast paced nature of our world and the ways that our world, our culture shames us from accessing our sensuality and our pleasure, those have been roadblocks for me. And it's one of the reasons why I got into the work that I do, to try to unlearn those things and then also help other people do the same.
So, for anyone who is looking to achieve success, which are a lot of our listeners here today, what advice would you give to them?
I would say, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
I would say slow the fuck down. I know that that is counter to what I think that we all grew up understanding about success, that we have to move forward and go fast and do all the things on our to-do list. But like, what would it be like for you to move slower? What would it be like for you to cultivate a slower pace so that you can like actually hear yourself and feel yourself? I don't know. I think about that a lot because of how certain messages we were given tell us to do the opposite. And so I'm like, well, I don't know. What would it be like for me to find success in resting? What if I could define rest as success? Or what if I could define me making a practice of being sensual and feeling into my own body as a way towards success? You know, it's really counter. And I think I imagine that there are some people listening who are like, this bitch is crazy. I slow down in order for me to go to success. But I don't know. There's something very powerful. And there's a lot of juicy moments found in our ability to slow down and tune into our bodies. And I think that slowing down allows us to hear ourselves. It allows us to fine tune the dreams that we have and get really clear about the things that we want. Because everyone's always telling us what we should want. And I think that slowing down helps us to really tune in and ask, like, do I want that though? Like, is that something that I want? I know everyone says that I should want it and everyone's telling me that I should want it, but what do I want? So yeah, I would say slowing down would be my medicine.
I love that. Well, those are our questions for today. So EvYan, thanks so much for being on the show. I was really honored when you accepted my invitation and so glad that you're able to share a different perspective so that people can start to explore themselves and who they are, even beyond what they've already done.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure chatting with you. And thank you for these interesting questions about success. I don't think someone's ever asked those things to me before.
Yay, I was first.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, y'all. So that was the 3 Pillars of Success podcast episode for today. We will catch you every single Wednesday on Spotify, Apple, Google, everywhere you listen to podcasts. Talk to you soon. Bye.